Good to go.
Right. Awesome. So we're talking about the Yeti, are we?
We are indeed. It is.
Okay. Let's run some descriptions about it. So tell us about this page. It's on fandom. It says the description of the Yeti is it's usually described as resembling some kind of enormous primate. The Yeti is a bipedal creature. Don't know if I said that right. Most commonly said to be covered in a thick coat of white hair.
Yeah, man. Uh, Primarily, I imagine to camouflage itself in the snow, like a polar
Mm,
bear. Hmm.
fair enough.
Uh,
And there's a lot of similarities, isn't there? People saying, "Oh, does the Yeti exist? Does it not exist? Is it a bear? What is it?"
Well, apparently it stands well in excess of 6 foot tall, so I don't know. It is
It's a
very
man in a hairy fucking suit.
does sound like that. Like if it's the way it's described, it always has more of a human characteristic than any kind of other creature. So I can see why people would assume it would be closer to man than bear.
Sure.
Uh, um, Now I'm wondering, is it the case this description came after the Yeti became famous, or was this always the description of the Yeti? I do not know. That is something we're gonna have to discover.
Definitely, for sure. And here's the thing as well. Like when we're looking for some stuff to cover on this topic. When it
Hmm.
comes to the Yeti, a lot of Bigfoot things come up. Obviously, we'll cover that at some other stage. But when it's the opposite way around and people talk about Bigfoot, nobody ever talks about the Yeti. That's true, right? So it's like, what came first? It must have been Bigfoot, right?
Well, it depends because it kind of falls into the same category, and they always seem to associate any sightings, even in the Himalayas, to Bigfoot as well as the Yeti. So I don't know if that's more of a popular idea to associate Bigfoot in every single situation because they want Bigfoot to be real, or it's just the case the Yeti isn't as popular. Uh, I do
Sure.
not know. I do not know. But let's move on to the Wikipedia of the Yeti.
Let's do
And
it.
there's a lot
Bunch
of
of information.
yeah, man. There's a lot of history here, uh, going all the way back. I suppose all the way back as far as the West is concerned to the 19th century, maybe a bit before. Uh, it seems there was
Who's taking credit? Who's taking credit for it?
you mean
Is anybody taking credit for it?
the original discovery of this Yeti idea,
Yeah.
or well, it already seemed to exist already in respect of the Buddhist belief in the Himalayas. So it was an idea already in myth or in fact in their local region. And
Mm.
when I suppose explorers arrived from the West, this story excited them, and they kind of ran with it in respect of spreading it across the world. Um,
For tourism and shit.
I
You reckon?
imagine. Well, I don't know if it originally was the idea of tourism. I imagine it was based on just releasing books and on scientific papers or discovering things in general.
Hmm.
It was all about discovering new things back then.
Well, as you know,
Uh,
when it comes to Bigfoot, I think when they first started talking about the subject, it was kind of like they said it was all this huge, massive hoax because they wanted to bring more people into this small town. So I was kind of thinking, possibly, is it the same thing with the Yeti, or is there some legitimate kind of backstory to it?
well, it's let's have a look here. It says it was yeah. It said it was locally worshipped as what they call the glacier being, as a god
Hmm.
of the hunt, and it was also
Holy
reported that
shit.
it seems to be some form of religion they used to worship it.
Oh, wow. So kind of like the Egyptians and their deities,
Seems
like the
so,
sun god Ra and that.
but for the Himalayan people, it would seem this was just as tangible. Um, let's have a look here. It seems like there was an explorer in 1832, James Prin Prinsep, and he wrote a journal accounting his experiences in northern Nepal. And
Where are you
apparently,
seeing that? Where's
oh,
that?
that is around here.
I got you. Yeah, yeah. Follow.
Now, apparently, local guides spotted a tall bipedal creature covered with long dark hair, which seemed to flee in fear.
Where? Come on.
Now, this is where they kind of got their first early reports of footprints, and it would seem the description of a large ape-like creature that left the prints, which was thought to be made by a bear, but then stories were heard later on that this might be something else. Uh, a combination of local legend plus perhaps real life wildlife that exists in the area led
Sure.
to this kind of belief system.
But here's
Um,
the thing, though. They don't have polar bears out there, do they?
I don't think they have polar bears in
Yeah.
the Himalayas. No.
That's what I mean. Like, if the Yeti's white, and you know that bears are dark, by comparison, then surely
Well,
it's not a hoax. Surely the Yeti's real. Do you know what I mean? Why would anybody dress up in some fucking, I don't know, Halloween costume and that in 1832?
well, I don't even think they even seen anything that even resembled what was described. I perhaps think they saw something and they talked to the locals afterwards, and they might have got more descriptions from them,
Mm.
and they kind of put it together. Like I read later on in this article that it was the case that after a few more exhibitions to find out if this thing was real,
Yeah.
it was the case that like even the name Abominable Snowman was a misinterpretation of the local language completely. So
Sure.
it the name doesn't even make tangible sense to the actual creature. So if it's not even called, if if the description of the abominable snowman doesn't even make sense, then one could tend to take away the idea that this creature was ever white. Because
Follow, because of that image there, as you can see to the right of the screen where it says it's a purported, I don't even know how to fucking pronounce that, purported Yeti scalp. And
oh
the
yeah,
Yeti scalp was dark. There you go.
yeah,
So if the Yeti scalp is dark, so technically it means that it changes its coat during, depending what season we land on.
maybe so, maybe so. This scalp in question apparently was kept in a shrine of sorts or a
Mm.
museum. Um, they call it the the infamous Yeti scalp of
Yeah, that.
Kunjan Monastery, and they claim this was the scalp of the actual Yeti.
Yeah,
Um, let's have a look here what it says here.
that's pretty
Uh,
decent, man. It looks like Donald Trump's hair.
it does look like
He's a fucking legend. Jesus Christ.
let's have a look here. Everest,
Where's these facts?
let's have a look here. Yeti females are known for their protruding breasts, which hang down below their waists. If they need to run, they can throw them over their shoulders. Now, that's an odd description.
Oh,
It's an odd description of a Yeti female. I will give it that. Why?
they
What
grab
practical?
they grab their chest, throw that cleavage over the shoulder and run.
What kind of why would biologically, why would that be a thing? It just seems so impractical for them to grow them that long, so they'd have to throw them over their shoulders when they're running away from the enemies. I may
That
call.
makes no sense.
I,
That makes no sense. Oh
let's have a
my
look here.
god. Go on.
You can see here that Hillary, this person here, Hillary led an expedition to find the Yeti in 1960. He
Yep.
found several Yeti skins, including one in Kumjau or Kumjung, but they
Mm,
all ended up being Himalayan bear skins. So it
right.
all seems to be moving back to some form of bear in the local region. Uh, but then again, that could be just the skins they're finding and the hair they're finding. So because they're more numerous in number in the local area, and maybe this Yeti species is very low in population. Um,
Sure. Sure.
it's what they always say about the Bigfoot as well. Like, the population is so low that that's why it's just never really found in general. So let's have a look here.
It's a possibility that if obviously this creature exists, then their numbers are, as you say, so low that uh, chance for sightings are going to be sort of extremely rare.
Well, if you look
If
at
you
this,
think about it on the bigger picture,
well, if this
if
is
you
the
think,
case, this would back it up in respect of how bad they need to breed as Yeti. Because
mm,
apparently, a Nepali newspaper in 1977 ran a story recounting a Yeti kidnapping a male villager, only for the man to reappear 3 years later, claim to have
been
had
raped.
sexual intercourse with a female Yeti. Yeah, he alleged the Yeti went on to have twins. The female Yeti longed for human love, apparently, and tried in vain to kidnap him on many occasions. Oh, that's a. She became so
Wait,
angry.
wait. He got. So you're saying that a Yeti, a female Yeti, came down um, to kidnap the man, a male guy,
Make
and
love.
raped them over a course of 3 years.
Well,
That's some really hairy babies.
well, they had two daughters apparently, and a
That's
half Yeti
epic.
son.
Yeah.
Oh, I think I've actually heard of this actually. There's a village where they say most of the people in the village are part Yeti descendant because
Half and half.
because the local men or the local women bred with the Yeti population. And I think a lot of these people are very hairy. I could be remembering that wrong though. Could be remembering that wrong.
It's a possibility.
Possibility.
Who knows?
Let's jump onto some pictures here. So apparently this
Yeah.
is a picture of a Yeti from far away.
Yeah.
It's extremely blurry.
She was saying quite pixelated.
It's quite pixelated. But then again, you know, uh,
It could
although
be anything really, to be fair, can't it?
it can be, it could be a bush.
Yeah.
It could be a piece of wood. But then again, if you squint your eyes in a certain way, it kind of does look like somebody's standing, just
Oh
smiling.
yeah, I kind of see it there. It's got like yeah, and well, I don't know, man. It's just it's such a sketchy image.
Yeah,
It
like
could also be like I don't know if they exist in the region, but maybe like a snow leopard.
there has been, yeah, I think there is actually snow leopards as well. And I know when it comes to Bigfoot, a lot of the cougars and stuff, they get a lot of credit for random sightings of things in forests in respect of Bigfoot. Uh,
Yeah,
Not to mention the black bear and the grizzly and all the other bear species. Uh, but I think it's a blurry picture. It's got snow in the background. It's going to instantly make me think about the Yeti. I don't know
yeah.
why. Um,
I'm trying to squint to see if I can see it. It looks a little bit small, doesn't
yeah,
it?
well,
A
maybe
little
that's
small.
well, maybe they are small, and it's just been the exaggeration of people telling stories that makes them seem bigger
Sure.
because they want to match it up to the 6 foot, 7 foot Bigfoot kind of stuff.
Yeah, yeah. That's a possibility.
Hmm. Let's see what else we
Um,
got going on over here. Okay.
does it say when that photo was taken? Did it? I don't think it did. Did it
Um,
give any information on it?
Malcolm posted the following video on YouTube, so there's a video involved with this.
There's a YouTube about it. Obviously, that somebody else is covering it. Um,
Video shows what appears
but
to be possibly Yeti creature.
yeah,
Um,
I mean, look, based on the image itself, it says a Sir Matt K. Apparently, maybe took that in 2016. Well,
mm,
he clearly needs an upgrade with that mobile device because that's awful.
it is awful. So, but who knows when this was actually taken? Like,
True.
this was posted on this forum, so who knows when this was done?
Yeah.
Um,
What people saying about it in that little lower section there?
they're saying, Larry, pick up the phone. It's not a Yeti. Yetis are
Get her
located.
done.
It
Jesus
looks like,
Christ, these people.
yes, some guy saying here, this looks like North America forest.
Yeah,
And the
it's going to be a whole bunch of troll stuff.
yeah, so it's the case that I think wherever the original picture came from, it might not be in the Himalayas, so it might not be the Yeti, but then again, it could be Bigfoot. So
Sure.
we are not going to watch that video because
I
No,
was, what?
there's no point.
There's no point.
There's
There's
no
no
point.
point. You
We'll
get a
jump on.
copyright strike for it as well
Who knows? Who knows?
while we're at it.
Let's look here. This is a
This image, yeah.
well, this is disturbing. Another kind of image taken from a video. So
Hmm.
I imagine the video itself will be awful quality. So we'll just stick with the picture. Um,
See,
oh,
see that one to me. I'll be honest. That one definitely feels like it's got like a silhouette of a polar bear.
it does
Yeah.
look kind of like a polar bear.
Only polar bears don't have like a blackened face.
But it's hard to tell because there's a lot of black areas here, and it's not just
Mm,
coincidentally in front of a black thing.
yeah.
At the right angle, that
Sort of
can look.
shrubberies.
Yeah, let's have a look here. There's something moving in the snow in a ski resort in Spain. Okay, this
Spain.
is in Spain.
Wow.
Uh, I don't know if they exist in Spain. Uh, as with pretty much all Sasquatch style sightings, this video is short, fuzzy, and shaky, but it is possible to see what appears to be a large humanoid shape moving in the distance. Hmm.
Causing. I've never heard that word. Causing a hullabaloo. Did you see that?
Hullabaloo, where do you see that?
Yeah. Look, just after you read it, causing a hullabaloo.
Oh yeah, yeah, yeah. Oh, you got
Jesus,
it.
no one talks like that.
Well, if it caused a hullabaloo, I think it's a perfect word for the situation now.
Hullabaloo, basically, what does it mean? It's like causing a ruckus, right?
Bit of a ruckus. And this
Bit of
picture's
a
a bit more
ruckus.
interesting actually, because
That one is.
it's a lot higher quality than most of the other pictures.
Yeah.
And see, can I zoom in on that? I don't know if I can.
I wish we could. Yeah.
A bit
Give it a
better.
go.
Can you
I
see
mean,
that?
if it does fit into the backdrop a bit nicer, doesn't it?
It does have a lot more. As far as all the pictures I've seen so far, researching this will by far be the more tangible gorilla-like animal that could suit a Yeti in this kind of environment where the trees aren't very strong, so it can't climb anything. So
Sure.
it might be more like a gorilla that can't really, that's very heavy and can't
Yeah.
climb trees. Um,
I mean, you see the way that it's been done. Like you've got the tree in front. So obviously it fits just behind that little shrub. Can you see it?
yeah,
Yeah. So kind of it does have the feeling that whatever it is there,
yeah,
right?
most definitely.
Um, but what
Now,
it is, we don't know. That's just up for speculation.
apparently this was scared skiers and snowboarders in the resort of Formingal in the
Yeah.
Pyrenees. Hmm,
Yeah.
northeastern Spain again.
Again, Spain.
Hmm.
Spain seems to be a bit of a hot zone.
Yeah, man. I never really considered Spain as a hot zone for the Yeti, but
It's same here. You
that
never
might
really
be.
hear many what's it news stories or anything like this or kind of people raving about Yetis in Spain. This is the first for me actually to see that.
A large furry creature makes its way calmly through the fern trees. Okay, okay. I can't disprove that. It does look like a very large man in a suit at the same time. But then
Mm,
again, I cannot disprove since it is moving from what I can see in a very natural way. So I am open-minded enough to say that perhaps it's possible it's a large white gorilla that's just walking around the area. Maybe.
yeah, I know. An albino gorilla, sure.
Well,
Escape from the zoo is possible.
there is silverback gorillas. I imagine
There are.
there is a white gorillas in some genetic form. Who knows? Who knows?
We don't
Uh,
know, but here's what I'm interested in. Who's taking this photo? Why are they not running? Because if you saw some shit like that in the middle of God
yeah.
knows where, look at that. He's out in the middle of the forest or something.
I
Like
see.
you,
You're questioning a very brave person right now. I think
he,
this
he could
person
be,
is
or
this
she could be.
she or he is very brave, and I think they're probably the bravest person in the entire world. Not the
Probably.
brags. I think what we're dealing with right now is our own fears. We couldn't be there, but they
Yeah.
could. They could. They've got this. Look at that.
Yeah. Yeah, true.
Look at that.
Well, more power to him.
And more power to them.
Yeah.
Oh, here we go.
Unbelievable.
Oh, here we go.
Unbelievable.
We're moving on to this article that was released, well, posted on the 30th of April, 2019. And apparently the
Mm.
Indian Army has Yeti footprint pictures, and they posted them on the internet for some reason. So,
Were do you think they're saying it's the trail itself, like the drag trails, or is it the footprints? Because it kind of looks like shoes, doesn't it?
well, it
It looks
can.
too small.
Well, it depends how close they were. Like these look like people feet.
Yeah, dragging
Uh,
along.
but I suppose that I've always heard videos, watching Bigfoot stuff, is that the distance and footprint is always very considerably uh, the factor in this in identifying these creatures. I will
Yeah,
say these footprints are very close together, so I can't really say that would be Bigfoot. Like if it was from here to here, the single footprint,
sure. A wider,
yeah, wider
uh,
gate.
yes.
Apparently, these footprints were seen in the snow near Makalaloo Base Camp in Nepal.
Mm.
The picture was taken on April 9th, obtained from social media. Okay, but it looks like the Indian Army posted this on their own Twitter site.
Obviously, no offense to the Indian Army, but that does look like it's human footprints.
Does look like, well, if anything, yeah. I just
It's just weird. It's just weird. Like one of them could be potentially like footprints, and maybe somebody's dragged, I don't know, like a tree stump along the ground or something like this.
mm,
Do you know what I mean? And then just kind of slid it around, causing a trail behind. But the footprint, yeah, those look like human footprints right there. There's even a heel to it. Look, he's clearly wearing a Chelsea boot. Look at that. You see it?
yeah, you can see the heel.
There's a
Yeah.
heel at the end.
It is said in the tweet, not explaining how a mysterious or mythical beast could leave footprints. Okay.
And I'd imagine the footprint would be wider if people are saying that um, if all Yetis are supposed to be the same, like all Bigfoots are supposed to be the same, then technically the descriptions shouldn't vary so much.
Here's a
And
close up. Here's a close up of the picture,
it seems slim.
and the
Of
footprint
that, of the, yeah,
it does look different up close, but then one could really explain this as just degradation in the print from wind and perhaps a light rain or sunshine melting the ice.
yeah,
Um, it does look pretty good. I can't say that it looks like a big messy footprint. So
it does.
one could see it because the rest of them don't seem to be affected by whatever
The
happened to these.
the trail itself, from what I can see, I can still see a heel there,
Yeah, it does
right?
look. It's a questionable footprint.
It is
We'll label that under question.
a question mark on it.
Yeah, I suspect foul play.
Yeah, me too. Me too.
Okay.
There's something about it. I don't like the cut of that jib.
No, man, that jib is bad. That jib
No.
is bad.
But still, put a pin in it for now.
Yeah, let's have a look here. Okay. Now, apparently, this is a photograph of a Yeti. If I can get a closer pic of this, I don't think I can.
A baby Yeti, apparently.
A boy who filmed the clearest evidence so far of a Yeti in Siberia has spoken for the first time of how he came face to face with the Bigfoot. Oh, it's the Bigfoot, but I guess one could one could say that this is what they've always seen. If they are seeing a dark-haired creature in the snow, maybe it's always been the Bigfoot, and it's just got a different name in the Himalayas. Maybe.
Surely, maybe it's just. I mean, it could be the same thing.
He spoke as Russia's
Like
leading proponent of the elusive. So it's in Russia. So there is a lot of talk
Russia.
of Russia having a lot of Yeti and Bigfoot. So
Yeah,
this seems to be a very big hotspot outside of Canada
sure.
and the Washington type of forests. There's a couple of places in the States apparently that claim to have Bigfoot, and mostly Canada and beyond, I think, moves towards more of a Yeti situation.
We got a new one on the map now as well with Spain.
Yeah, yeah, I've never actually seen
Uh,
Spain mentioned before in any video
yeah,
in respect of sightings.
same here.
Um, so that is a fascinating. That's something to look up on, especially the ski resorts. Um, oh, there's the guy there apparently.
Mm.
Looks like the bigger Yeti, maybe it was mother or father, was making a path for the smaller one. This also explains why the distance between footprints is not big, just 70 to 80 centimeters, just about 2.5 times bigger than the footprint itself. Okay. Well, they put a lot of evidence in respect to this. There's a lot of footage and
Somewhat. They
hmm,
put somewhat of an effort into it.
yeah, interesting. That's much better. That they're much better than the previous photographs by the Indian Army.
Yeah, I agree.
It's tough to
But
keep kind of
it's again, it's still blurred, isn't it? It's a lot of these images tend to be like, um, I don't know, somewhat pixelated. Obviously, that's what brings skepticism. So even if it was, because
legit.
obviously, yeah, if it was legit, you would think that they would take a little bit more care with it.
I guess so. But here's a theory. Maybe if one was to go into there is a hard belief that in some kind of Yeti and Bigfoot stuff that there's
Mm.
a lot of energy and magic involved and stuff. Here's a theory that's probably been said a few times that maybe photographs can't be taken correctly because there's some kind of distortion happening. I don't know.
Who
Maybe,
knows?
who knows? Or humans are the worst people in the world to take a photograph. Uh, and and people who have
It's
the
like,
worst cameras in the world are the only ones who care about Bigfoot.
yeah.
I don't,
Well,
or the Yeti, man. Yeah, so,
there's too many coincidences and to my liking.
well, in their defense, it says the Yeti or the Yetis were filmed on a mobile phone through the trees, and perhaps frightened by the voices, and blurred shapes are seen moving away. So apparently, this is like the blurred pictures
Mhm.
distance. The quality is too bad to distinguish what they are. Um, that is a
Yeah, it's just
shame.
like shrubs in the background. You can see it's all like similar areas. So obviously that's um but in the mountains, in mountains in Himalayas, right? There's no like foresty areas there, is there?
I think there's somewhat of a kind of a pine forest type situation going on. Uh,
Okay.
I couldn't be 100% sure on that. I have not researched the Himalayas. I know there's a lot of mountainous areas.
Yeah. I
Uh,
wasn't I wasn't 100% sure as well on their landscapes if they have any of that or if it's lower down sort of towards the base and kind of like the foresty areas doesn't go all the way up the mountains to the summit.
well, we could actually do a quick Google on this. So it's in
Yeah.
Nepal. It's in Nepal.
Where we can see kind of like because obviously they don't explain much about habitat wise because nobody really knows all that much about it.
Let's have a look here. What's going on? Well, these are well, it's actually pretty green in certain areas. So
Yeah.
I suppose if there are people living in the mountains, there has to be some form of way of, yeah, okay,
Yeah.
that's got a bit of a green going on there. Yeah, okay. So there is a
I'll
lot of
follow man.
there is a lot of forest here.
Yep.
So these are more, I think, because the mountains are most of the most famous area for mountaineers and stuff. That's why the forest type areas around it are not kind of the main topic of point when it comes to the Yeti and Bigfoot.
Yeah.
And I think it's the more isolated rural areas that have more of the mythical idea of this Yeti. That's why it's probably more famous around here, maybe.
Sure. Things like folklore and that where um you know see to me it's kind of like a whole touristy thing again, people trying to bring people um to their countries and this and that, which is fair play. Um but I do wish some of these images were slightly a little bit better because that would really help us on the research path.
Yeah, because it'd be nice to kind of at least if the photographs were a bit more high quality, one could have a one wouldn't be so quick to just to say it is not true or false, or is it a scam or some kind of fake photograph?
Oh yeah, you don't
Uh,
want to dismiss it. You want to believe in this stuff.
well, yeah, you want to hope that extra species like this exist because if they do, it kind of opens up a lot of different ideas about how the Earth really is, and not just kind
Yeah,
of humans and bears, really. Um,
truth.
So this apparently this story here talks about a man who searched for the Yeti for 60 years and found it. Uh,
Mm.
I don't know why he didn't do anything else after that though. Uh, this is a reference to the I believe the 1951 Eric Shipton discovery maybe because it's been referenced from the Wikipedia. Let's have a look here. Numerous expeditions were sent out in search of the Yeti, gave us brief timelines, description of how he first became fascinated. Yeah, I think it's primarily focusing on the 1951.
That's interesting.
It's a nicer picture, isn't it?
Yeah, that is interesting.
The Eric Shipton came across the footprint of the abominable snowman in 1951 and took a picture. He placed his ice axe next to it for scale.
That's a
Hmm.
big ass foot.
It is. It is. Hmm. And it does
That's
have,
about that's like a size 26 or something.
well, it all depends really how big this axe really is. But like if it's
Also,
anything, because if it's one of them small pickaxes, then it's not too large. But
mm.
because I don't think they carry massive axes when they're climbing ice.
You think it's because
Could be
obviously we're speculating. Could be the possibility where somebody's placed their foot down twice.
true,
Do
or
you reckon?
it's a bear.
Yeah,
um,
yeah, yeah.
I think I'm aware of this photograph from the Wikipedia, and there is a lot of debate about this footprint rotating around whether or not it was just a barefoot that was somewhat altered by the rain and weather, so it has the more of a roundish kind of
Also,
appearance.
look at the foot placement. Look at the weight distribution.
Mm. There is a lot of
Yeah,
weight on the back foot
weight.
though.
Yeah, yeah.
It is the more melted area. There's a kind of this green there, or perhaps the earth, or just a
Hmm.
kind of a deeper section. I
Yeah.
will say it's not the worst photograph in the world.
No, it's not. It's actually decent. It's the most decent one we found so far. It has a certain high quality to it in comparison to the others.
Yeah, I think originally
And
it
that
was
was taken like 100 years ago, so that's ridiculous. I don't know why people can't get it right now.
yeah, because that kind of shows, if people can't take photographs back then, could take photographs back then that is high quality of the footprint, and yet the ones
Yeah,
now are all blurred.
yeah.
You have to question whether or not cameras have got worse over the last 100 years, or people have got worse with cameras. Um,
I don't. Depends on the selfie game, doesn't it?
see,
Where
a lot of these
some people don't.
see a lot of these photographs apparently are also can be mistaken for wolf as well. I believe there's wolf there as well, and they kind of leave a lot of trails and stuff.
Hmm.
So, but we can bounce on to the next bit. So it's a look here.
Ew,
Yeti.
look at that, icky.
Well,
Got some earwax there. I love those adverts when they
no,
come up.
don't look at that. Um, so the Yeti, a mysterious, gigantic snowman in the Himalayan region, is
Yeah,
referring to the same kind of date, April 9th, 2019, near Nepal. I think it's referring to the same story. Yeah, very similar photographs again.
yeah,
Smaller quality as well, but yeah, it's the same photograph. It's about
yeah.
the
It is. It looks like it's the same one, just
yeah,
taken from different angle. Yeah.
yeah.
Oh yeah, yeah.
Mysterious.
Indian Army. You see it there. Yeah,
Yeah, same. It's the same story. With we've already covered that one, and I think we
yeah.
can. It's like even that, even like kind of re-looking at that again, one could see that maybe these tracks are wolf tracks, and that's like a bear track thing or something. Who knows? Or just a person walking through very heavily used walkways.
It's a possibility, or maybe some wildlife kind of dragging a carcass across the floor.
Who knows? Yeah, dropping
There's
it.
that.
Yeah,
Yeah, there
it's
is
hard
that.
to. That's a have a look here. Now, this is a Yeti. Is it real or just a legend from folktales?
Oh,
This apparently is. I'm not really, there's no explanation about this photograph, but it looks like a local American town
uh,
or something like that.
we can't. I don't know. I try to keep an open mind, but I don't know if I can be serious about this one because it's actually coming at the cameraman.
Yeah, it's like it wants to be seen.
Yeah.
Um, and here's the photograph again of the same tracks, in a smaller quality.
Mm.
Um, it seems for those who do not know the Yeti, blah blah blah.
Do you see it there though? How it stops, like those tracks. It's only for that small section there. Like they don't trail off.
Yeah,
You see that?
I've heard in some videos in relation to these type of creatures that the biggest problem with some of the evidence that's produced for Bigfoot or Yeti is that whenever someone spots the Yeti or the Bigfoot, it's always the case that they're always entering the shot and leaving the shot of the camera, but they never followed. They never go beyond the point in which they move out of the camera shot. So there's a bit of
Mm.
dispute saying like, well, okay, where did it come from that it came into your camera shot, and where did it go to afterwards that you couldn't have followed it for about 5 minutes afterwards?
Mm.
It, it's a. Now this is obviously someone in a costume, or this is some kind of computer generated fuzziness happening, but I think it was just made for the actual article.
Probably, yeah.
Um,
It's got a whole bunch of filters on it.
so this is the story in the Sun of the abominable snow monkey. Monkey thought to have given birth to Yeti myth is latest star of the Sir David Attenborough Once Planet. Well, if David Attenborough is involved, it's hard to tell. Like
Uh-oh.
this might be a bit. This could be fact going against myth now. It seems. Um,
That's the thing. We can't we It's tough to go against what David Attenborough says.
yeah,
He's an international treasure, isn't
yeah,
he?
but he could be lying
You
though.
can't.
I've
I
heard, I've heard stories that a lot of people in the States, in respect of Bigfoot and the Yeti, believe there's a government conspiracy in respect of covering up their existence for some reason.
mm,
I don't know why, but apparently David Attenborough has said the golden snub-nosed monkey bears its its fangs in the next episode of the wildlife series, and apparently it has a very similar look to the ancestor. The
yeah.
golden snub monkey's ancestor are thought to have inspired. Oh, so what it's saying here is that the ancestor of this monkey may have inspired the myth.
Okay.
Um, but despite the Yeti links, the primate is only pint-sized, growing to just 20 inches tall.
Yeah, that's a significant difference.
Well, it could be the case that the monkey inspired some kind of spiritual belief, and then over time they added qualities to the spiritual belief and
Yeah.
made it more kind of angry and more stronger, so they could respect it more and scare their children at nighttime and stuff. Maybe.
Yeah, that's what people do, don't they? They always get um if something interests them, it could be like something small, like a small animal. They'll always, by making everything bigger, you make everything more scary. So, I can understand that.
Yeah, it does have a similar look as well
It
to
does.
the.
The facial kind of like the facial features of the monkey itself. I've seen images from Yeti, kind of like artistry and things like that. It does have that kind of face to it. Obviously, not the ginger hair. That's that's not Yeti, right?
Yeah, well, it depends on which
Up,
version of the Yeti you
up
want to believe.
for dispute. Mm.
Yeah. Looks like this is the same story about the Indian Army, and they're
Yeah,
mocked.
they love talking about it, man.
Yeah, but
Those
looks like
guys.
it looks like they were mocked over this claim.
Well, hold on.
Um,
That's on BBC News.
yeah, man,
That's on BBC News.
it is.
So it must be factual. BBC, they don't
No,
lie.
all they're doing is reporting on how people made fun of them on Twitter after they posted pictures.
Mm,
That's a shame that I got. It just went viral after they released the pictures on the official Twitter site.
sure.
Although these footprints were discovered on the 9th of April, the army made the discovery public, only deciding that it matched earlier theories about the Yeti, according to a report in the Times of India. Reacting to the disbelief of the social media, the army said the evidence about the Yeti has been photographed and handed over to subject matter experts. So we thought it prudent to excite scientific temper and rekindle the interest. Maybe it falls into more your kind of tourism interest in the area. and they
Mm.
wanted to excite people again about the idea of Yeti. Um,
So here's a question. Here's a question that I have as well.
hmm.
If people were saying about the Pyrenees and how potential Yeti was found somewhere around those areas, right? Then technically it's in Europe. So there is a possibility that it could be in the UK, right? So
Ah, the UK maybe.
maybe he knows how to fucking paddle. Maybe he knows how to row a boat.
I don't know.
Came all the way here. Where would he be? Snowdonia.
I've heard some speculation about the UK and Ireland having these kind of creatures, and I've seen some of the videos. I'm sorry, it's just there's not enough forest land and isolated areas for these species to exist. It just can't. It's not like Canada where it
Well, you
has
got the
hundreds.
Highlands, don't you? What about up in Scotland? You got the Highlands.
True, but
That's
people live.
that's that's pretty. Yeah.
But people live in the
Well, we got to inspire people. Like they want to believe. Tell
we
them,
don't
Albi. They want to believe.
want to invent any kind of. No, I refuse to get involved in it. I'll think about it. I'll think about it. I'll think
Think
about
about it. Think about it. Be positive about it. The
it.
sky's the limit. It could be anywhere. If it's in the Pyrenees, it could be anywhere.
But apparently here they're going through the genetics that they're finding, um, and it looks like it's been mostly being pushed forward by Bigfoot enthusiasts to prove their
Yeah.
theory. Like the more you move towards the Yeti, you'll find it seems to kind of push more towards Bigfoot to kind of back up their myth of Bigfoot, using Yeti as a stepping stone as their own kind of, if it exists, if Yeti exists, then Bigfoot must exist.
Yeah.
Um, we live in, okay, Bigfoot, Yeti, and beyond. Most of the samples are seem to come from Russia. More than half of the 30 samples that underwent DNA analysis were linked to sightings of Bigfoot, aka Sasquatch, in the United States, ranging from Texas, Minnesota to Arizona and Washington State. But apparently, the evidence they got back from that, this is probably getting off the point of Yeti, but it seems like they found porcupine, horse, raccoon, sheep, deer, canines like wolf and coyotes and dogs,
Mm.
and one undetermined human. That's a that stands out though, in respect of that DNA analysis. Same with Russia. So it is tough.
What kind of human hair did they find out there? I don't even want to know. One undetermined human hair.
I don't know, man, but whatever it
God,
was not it wasn't recognizable.
no.
Hmm. These stories
Right.
seem to kind of moving towards the same kind of scientific study as well. And they're saying that the DNA belongs to bears. So it would seem the more science gets involved with the discovery of the Yeti, it seems the more people think it resembles that of polar bears. So maybe a breed of bear that is not been
Mm.
fully discovered yet, or it's like a crossbreed of some other bear that's just
That's what I
small in
was
number.
thinking. A hybrid, yeah.
Yeah, that makes more sense. I think a hybrid is more likely, perhaps in the bear species, than any kind of primate.
Um,
Yeah. Hmm.
you think about it. There's still a lot that we don't know. I mean, like I say, humans, like we travel all over the world.
Hmm.
Um, but there's still a lot of things that we're still discovering. Like if you look into the Amazon, for example, and we see so many different variations of moths and bugs and things like this that people are discovering on a daily basis. So it is possible that with this story with the hybrid bear, right? It could be out there. Back to the snow leopards, the extremely rare snow leopards. The sightings are so minimal. It just doesn't happen very often. So this could be just one extremely uh, clever type bipedal esque, humanoid esque, bear esque, whatever the fuck it is, esque.
Very
You know what I
poetically
mean?
said. That's very poetically said.
Yeah.
Um, and it does fall in line with a lot of what they're saying here. Genetically differences. It could be rare subspecies from more common species like a bear, or and as well it says here as well as the last time these groups shared. Okay, that's fair. Um,
I want to
Yeah.
call some of these people. That's what I want to do. I got my phone right here. We should call some of these Dr. Beth, whatever, and just see what their take is on it. Bring them in into the conversation, put them on Zoom and see what they say.
Well, we could. We'll one day perhaps who else? We'll get them against the scrutiny of our
Put a bit of pressure on them.
we're
See
pressure them.
see see if they cave.
Well, apparently, genetic analysis in this story here with the Independent analyzed nine Yeti bone, teeth, skin, hair, follicle samples to indicate, well, it indicated they derived from bears.
Fecal, aka shite.
Oh, sorry, I said follicle. Um,
Yeah,
the one exception was a single tooth collected from a stuffed museum exhibition, and it came from a dog. So it seems
dog
clearly a
tooth.
big part of the Yeti legend has to do with bears. uh, which actually would drive me towards a lot more of the same kind of stuff with Bigfoot because there is a lot of legend and a lot of real factual legend in respect of the origin of Bigfoot in respect to bears.
Yeah,
Which is actually quite interesting story for the next time, actually, when we move on to Bigfoot,
for
because
sure.
it's fascinating to kind of hear the real accounts of these so-called creatures and perhaps how they got known as these legendary kind of mythical things later on because they were so impressive. Um, but I think
Absolutely. Have you also seen that thing? I was kind of thinking that this could have something to do with it, genetically speaking. If you type down um, the world's biggest monkey like ever, write something like that in the search engine and see what comes up. I think it's a ginger type monkey and it must have been like 13 foot tall, something like that. Huge, absolutely huge.
largest monkey ever.
Yeah, largest like ape ever, something like this. I forgot what I googled. Yeah, that's the one. That's the one. You see that fourth picture at the top along? That's it. Check that out.
Well, it's shown me
Forgot
on that.
the scientific name that they had to it, but obviously this is a real thing. They said that they found bones. This is a giant ape that existed.
Oh, Gigantus picus. Oh, how do you pronounce that? Uh, Gigantus
The
pictus. Oh, yeah.
Giganta, Gigantopithecus. Oh, fuck it.
I've heard this
The
name.
big monkey. Big
Yeah,
monkey.
I've heard this name several times before in respect of Bigfoot. It's
Mm,
what they thought theoretically the this Bigfoot could be some surviving members of this or a subspecies of this that still exists in small numbers
mm.
across different areas in the world. Um, and they would fall into the same kind of description as what most people have seen. I can't disprove this, but the likelihood, though, because it survives, it existed so long ago. I don't
But
know.
some things are starting to surface about it, aren't there? You've got this Gigantopithecus, if I'm saying that correctly,
Yeah.
and then the monkey that we had before from the David Attenborough article,
It
right?
doesn't similar has
It
similar
does have
features.
similarities, yeah. And then you've got Yeti and Bigfoot. There's links there for sure. I don't know if it's just what human beings do. Like we kind of pick one image and kind of put it side by side with something else to make it more believable, or if there's just something really legit with it, and it's a who knows, maybe a possible ancestor to the hippo fucking Ficamus or whatever the fuck his name is.
You were so good for so long with that, and then you just ruined it.
Oh man, I can't even deal. It's too
Okay.
much information.
Well, I think we have covered the brief summary of this Yeti species, and
I
we've
think it
done.
went well.
I think it went well. I think next podcast we will focus more on the Bigfoot, and I think we can weave in more of the Yeti conversation as well because
Mm,
being tangibly linked, and it would be a fair assessment to say that it is part of the same universe or perhaps the same species if one is to scrutinize it down to a certain breed.
yeah,
That's
I
that's
mean,
merely that's merely branched out in different areas.
Yeah, we've
Uh,
got to exhaust every single avenue because I want to get to the bottom of this. I want to find this Yeti and I want to become a millionaire.
yeah, man, that's the plan. Uh,
That's that. That's all that matters.
and
I
quite
don't
frankly,
care about no scientific pursuits. I want to be a millionaire. Let's go hunt this damn thing.
well, as it stands, we're both very suspicious individuals, so we're not going to be able to accept this until we scrutinize it to the point of which even ourselves can't disprove it.
We're very skeptical, but at the end of the day, we're also believers. We want to believe,
Want to
right?
believe,
Right.
but I also have issues with, science and fact.
People.
I'm battling my logic over faith system. So this is my
Yeah.
my conflict with this subject matter. But I think the more we look into it, the more we realize how close to reality it can be, and we'll see what
So
we can
to,
discover.
yeah, definitely. And to sum up, the Yeti exists until proven otherwise,
It's true.
right?
Because I don't live there, I cannot say such a creature can't exist in such a large environment. I'm not fully familiar with how large the area can be. So
Absolutely.
who knows how much space there is compared to where we come from. This kind of range of environment doesn't really exist anymore.
Oh
So
yeah. I mean, look, if you look at people in Alaska, right, Albie, you see them out there in the middle of nowhere, 300, 400 miles out into the wilderness, and nobody even knows that they're there
that's true.
unless they come out and say something about it. So this is definitely a possibility. Thinking about the range of the Himalayas, thinking about the Pyrenees, thinking about just the wilderness in general, it's very easy to hide and not be found if you don't want to be found, especially considering that if you're out there in the middle of nowhere, you're pretty much going to hear any intrusions that are coming into your area because you
Oh,
know your habitat, you know where you live. So I'm kind of thinking that that's a big possibility why nobody's really found the Yeti yet.
I
Some
like what
serious evidence.
I like what you've done with that. You actually you made it seem like kind of a if a person wanted to exist in isolation in the wilderness,
Mm,
could keep off the grid. So if a creature such as this has the same type of survival instinct, but its instinct is like 100 times better because all it does is survive, then it would never be found. Um,
absolutely. Could
Interesting.
be a ninja. Could be a ninja, man.
Ninja.
Absolutely. We don't know how intelligent this thing is.
That is something that's up for debate. We'll have to discuss that in a future video to kind of see how intelligent it can be in
Yeah,
respect of the photographs that are taken and the videos that are caught from it. Um, but we'll see next time, of course.
absolutely.
Excellent. So I think we can call this a meeting of Yeti to a close.
We're gonna Yeah.
Thank you, Dave Hardy, for joining me on this adventure.
Anytime, buddy.
uh,
Anytime. You know me. I love all of this shit. Like extraterrestrials, Bigfoot, you name it. I love it all.
Sweet man. So we will leave this episode for now, and I hope you guys at home enjoy our research. And if you want to
Oh
see
yeah.
more,
Oh, hey
oh
guys,
yeah,
what's going on? For
yes,
those of you that might be watching,
I might be
get
watching.
get
Um, we will be releasing probably videos at least once a week in respect of this subject matter to do with myth, science, creatures, magic, you name it, we'll cover it, UFOs, and we'll give our unique perspective on all these things. And me and Dave will see can we unearth the truth at last.
Oh, we're gonna get to the bottom of this truth.
Yeah, man.
We're
So,
definitely gonna stay safe out there, people. By the way, obviously everybody's bored out of their fucking minds being in lockdown and stuff, but that's why we're here to try to entertain through factual evidence. Factual evidence. Come on, we're going into investigator mode, and we're gonna get to the bottom of this. I'm telling you,
that's our job right now is to investigate this.
that's our job.
Yeah. Well,
That's all that matters.
I hope you guys enjoyed our content, and we will see you in the next podcast. Have a good night and goodbye.